Welcome back, boys and some girls. This video is more experimental. Do give me feedback at the end after you watch all of it. I used some ChatGPT to try to fix some of my broken English. Alright, so in this video I will share with you my perspective of the economy of fashions of creation from the viewpoint of somebody who just doesn't care about combat. I likely won't ever go to stroll in some kind of dungeon. It's probably never going to happen. And I won't sit here and explain to you every single feature and how I think it should be, because it's not supposed to be a 15 hours video. There's so many features, so many systems in actual creation. I don't want to be here a whole day. So I'm just going to give you the core principles and just basically give you some example, make it easier for you to understand. So let's go over the core principles. Number 1, player driven. Number 2, balance. Number 3, easy to understand, hard to master. I will obviously explain more about each one of those in a bit, but first I want you to know that the gold in the economy mostly is generated through combat. Crafters, traders, they provide the necessary tools and resources and gear so the combat players can actually progress. So if either of those group is lacking, the economy suffers because they both depend on each other for balance and, sustainability. The next part that actually maintains and exponentially increases the economy is pretty much the rest of the game. Every other system supports more systems. While obviously I have quite a few problems with many different systems, overall they do make sense. My main problem is how they're executed. For example, randomizing the spawn point of resources to actually prevent the camping of those resources is a good idea, makes a lot of sense. My issue starts once you can actually take, for example, tier 3 resources and make it so they can spawn in the same place as lower tier resources. Because at times like now in the server, when nobody's actually able to get any journeyman skills, the growth is stunted. You only see tier 3 resources and like a crap ton of trees. This just causes shortages and makes some prices just shoot up like we had with copper. Player driven, or in another name, supply and demand. It has to be a core principle because this is the best principle for a longer game life. Because it doesn't require the developers to continuously change the systems. You only need to make the rules around the market. Of course, the devs can change whatever they want. They can change the mana supply by simply nerfing, buffing, or changing whatever they want, the spawn rate of any item in the game. And this will cause the prices to increase or decrease depending on the action the devs took. To give you a quick example, shortly after Steven mentioned in his stream that Crocs will be fixed soon, then the prices dropped by like 50% instantly just from that. Gear sounds pretty simple. You just craft it or you drop it for mobs, right? No, it's not. To get a single piece of high quality gear, not even a high level one, just high quality any piece of gear, you need to use many systems. First, you actually need to meet the level requirement to wear the items. After that, you also need to level up your armor crafting profession by making a ton of useless items, that each one of those requires 2 to 3 more gathering professions, as well as 2 to 3 processing professions, and just then you can craft the items. However, it doesn't end here, because Ashes of Creation has another system that is called the node system, where you cannot just simply craft whatever you want anywhere. You actually need specific stations in specific nodes with specific upgrades. So if none of the nodes has the upgrade, then nobody in the server gets to craft whatever this piece of item is. There's just no way around it. So if you go to the Alpha 2 right now, or after later on wipes, you just won't be able to get a lot of things for a long time. However, if you go at the release time, then you just have to cross a longer distance to get the node that is a high level and actually has the upgrade you're looking for. Next, I want to talk about balancing, and I don't mean copy-pasting everything all around the map. I mean equal opportunity. I'm not going to talk about the desert versus the riverlands, because the desert is just not really expanded upon. It's just nodes with a bunch of minerals, so I won't compare that. I will compare between the east and the west side of the Riverlands. As if on a scale from crowded to deserted, all the dungeons and point of interest are set around Catherine Tower, all the way to New Ayla having maybe 1.5 point of interest that can generate some kind of player activity in the area. It doesn't really help that those two places are below level 20, so not much is happening that side of the map. The eastern side is just full of resources, point of interest. There is just no need to go anywhere near the western side. The only thing that has been added recently is the Fallen Forge, which is a level 25 dungeon that is west of Jova, but it doesn't have any resources really. It just have a bunch of trees and some plants here and there. You might ask, why do you even care if some nodes will be more populated and some won't be as populated? I'll tell you why. 2 points. Number 1, economy. Number 2, story arcs. The economic point is about the limited amount of building slots that you actually have in nodes, which will limit the tier of artisan skills that can be available in the server. To upgrade the nodes, you actually need a lot of players, a lot of resources, 2 things that places like New Ela don't really have. Meaning they cannot build the buildings that what the whole server needs, meaning the whole server gets stunted and nobody gets their journeyman skills. Next, for the story arcs, like Steven said way back in a stream, I don't remember even when, quests and storylines will only be revealed when certain nodes level up to specific levels. If the playing field isn't even, then certain nodes may never level up to the level required to actually unlock some quests or storylines. This could lead to isolated region of the map where it's basically a ghost town and others are just an oasis, so many players, so much fun. So it does need balancing. If not, then we're gonna have pockets of activity and not a real big connected world. Now I want to talk about the last core principle, which is easy to learn how to master. What I mean by this is that players should be able to engage with all aspects of the economy, but the deeper mechanics like price analytics or market trends should be unlocked through skill progression or dedicated time investment. I believe that to avoid turning ashes creation into a solo experience, advanced tools, features, all of those should remain locked behind skill trees and high-level progression. This is to make sure that players are actually encouraged to cooperate and specialize in their own choice of roles. It actually creates a more dynamic market. Rather than making every character universally viable, that everyone can do everything, players should have the freedom to choose whatever they want to invest in, allowing for more meaningful experiences. The reason I even think that such a thing is better and necessary is because it works in real life too. It promotes innovation, competition between players. The search always for bigger and better always give birth to new businesses that nobody thought were necessary or never were in this kind of games. So it is necessary in my opinion. One thing we need to make sure here, because of all the other mistakes and problems that I have with other systems, is we need to make sure that the way we are executing the systems won't actually make it so all the players and every character has to have 5 points in the merchant tree to sell random crap they got from a dungeon. Ultimately, a more balanced and player-driven economy, it doesn't just make asset creation more engaging in the long term, it actually makes it so crafters, traders, gatherers, combat players, basically everyone has a more meaningful time playing the game. Now the ball is in Intrepid's hands to see how they actually execute the systems and what they take, what they leave, what kind of system is it gonna be. But that's gonna be it. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, thank you. If you didn't, I want to know why, so I can actually improve. And besides that, keep us safe. See you in the next one. Bye bye.